guy up in Sacramento that thinks you shouldn't do load calculations, but I'm going to show you the very reason why you should do load calculations on every house you do. Why do load calculations matter? Well, I'm going to tell you why. There's a guy up in Sacramento that thinks you shouldn't do load calculations, but I'm going to show you the very reason why you should do load calculations on every house you do. So if you have somebody coming out to your house and they'll do this quick thing on an iPad or something that says, yeah, this is what size unit you need, make sure they're doing a real load calculation. I use RightSoft. I love RightSoft, but there's other brands out there, but make sure they're doing a real load calculation. And there's a difference between a block load and a room to room. So let's get into this real quick. So in this case here, this lady's house, she's in Modesto, and she has a room that she was having problems with. And so we measure in every house. And so we measured the house, and I put it in the computer. I measured the airflow in that room. It was 148 CFM right there. 148. Now, that's supposed to be 367. That's what the computer says, because this room has 4 windows in the back that faces west. And so this room has a lot of load. So she's only getting 40% of the air she needs. And it says, the computer told me when I put a duct over to it, that it needs to be a 9-inch. I'm sure it's probably not a 9, it's probably a 7, maybe an 8, but I doubt it's even an 8. It's probably a 7-inch duct. Okay, so we did a room to room that's told us what we need. The other thing that a load calculation does, it tells you the size of the piece of equipment. She currently has a 3.5 ton, and when we did the load calc on it, which only needs 3.1 tons, it's not 3.5 tons. Now 3.1, I'm just going to go ahead and round it up, leave it at 3.5 ton. That should be sized okay for the house. And then it's going to work fine. It's a little oversized, but that's not going to matter. We're not talking a ton. We're talking just like 0.4 tenths of a ton. So that's okay. I don't think that's a big deal. It should work fine. She could get away with a 3 ton, but let's just go ahead and leave this at 3.5 ton. Going back to the layout though, because this room faces west, you can see this is north facing right here. So the north facing doesn't allow, if these windows were facing north, it changes it considerably. They wouldn't have the load in here. So pay attention. I'm going to change the direction the house faces. I'm going to make these windows face north instead of west. It dropped down to 247 CFM, and the duct went down to 8-inch. So now if the house was facing a different direction, this is the reason you do load calculations, because if it faces a different direction, the loads can be totally different on the house. And I mean totally different. Did it change the tonnage? Let's take a look at what the tonnage changed to. Let me pull that off. Take a look at the tonnage. Now it's 2.7. So if that house actually rotated, she could get away with a 3 ton, no problem at all. Well, she's not going to turn her house. There's no way you can do that. So we have to size it to the way the house faces. So I'll put it back to where it was facing the way it is. But there's a cool part we can do with what we can do some what ifs. So it's 367 CFM right now, 9-inch the way it faces. But let's change these windows. We can do what ifs with our load calculation and change these windows where we put on the windows sunscreens. Well, I got to click on all of them. Let me click on all of them real quick here. Boom. And then I'm going to put sunscreens. So with sunscreens, we're going to be about 0.3 or 3.5, but typically that's how much shading it can get out of sunscreens. And then we're going to make them 100% on just those 4 windows and see what it changes. Well, suddenly we went down to 258 CFM just by doing those 4 windows, okay? And now it's down to an 8-inch duct again. It was the same as if we rotated the house. So we did a what if, so she could see that she could get by. Putting those sunscreens is going to improve the temperature in the room, make that room more comfortable. And let's see what it did to her tonnage. So if she put sunscreens on, what did it do to her tonnage? Now she's at 2.8 tons. She can get away with a 3 ton. So we're going to take these options to her, show her the difference, let her decide if she wants to stay with the 3.5. She should do the sunscreens no matter what she does. The sunscreen should be going on those windows. And we can take that back from a 3.5 ton all the way down to a 3 ton if she wants to do that, and then the room's going to work a lot better. Now after we've done this, we'll test out the house. I always tell people, look, put the system in, let's see how your ductwork does afterwards. But this identifies problems. What other room did she have problems with? If we go to the front of the house, this room in the front, she says, not getting enough air. Now, this duct's supposed to be, this room's supposed to be an 8-inch also, but we're only getting 147 CFM, which is, again, probably sized incorrectly. The duct's probably the wrong size. So we can improve this. Once we put the new system in, it's probably going to bump up the airflow anyhow. That's the way ECM's motor work. If it doesn't bump up the static too bad, we can probably do a little bit of balancing and then just take and maybe have to increase the size of 1 or 2 ducts. The family room was another one that was a lot of issues. So we're only getting 64 CFM, so I was supposed to get 282. And even though this has a sliding glass door, this sliding glass door has a full overhang, goes all the way out to here. So they don't need sunscreens on that because it never gets direct sunlight. So it's not a window issue in this room. It's just the amount of air and the size of the room. It's got 2 outside walls also. So it should be getting a bigger duct. So we're probably going to increase the size from over here to the duct or add a second duct, whatever works best for it. So do load calculations. They will make sure you have the right size unit. And then you can also do what ifs to see if you can make some changes and improve the rooms or improve the whole house itself. And then it also makes sure that we get the right amount of air. And then they also have to measure it using a flow hood. And I'll put a picture up of a flow hood up here. And the guy's using it. So use the flow hood to make sure that they have the right airflow. And then you can balance the system. Without any of those tools, load calculations and a flow hood, we're just guessing. And those guys that say, hey, I can do this with just swapping out your equipment, don't rely on magic bullets. That doesn't fix everything. You got to make sure that you're taking care of problems like this with the ductwork, because if I just swap this unit out, it's probably not going to fix all of our problems. All right. Please like and subscribe, and hope to see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.